Yes. So hello, and I hope I saw a lot of you already yesterday. I hope you enjoyed the show. So this time we plan to be a bit more technical, maybe, or at least useful for you. It's a clicker. I have to figure out how it works. Like this. Good. So, yes, my name is Martin, as you said, and just to continue on the previous topics, somehow I'm out of the same kindergarten, so as well, I originated from Hansabank a long time ago. Also, I've had several other kindergartens since. And I really would like to present my topic as a continuation of what Andres introduced. So it's a story on how to make sense in the organization and just one glimpse on how to get around those crocodiles in the swamp. First of all, I'm going to introduce shortly my company. It's called Airamer, and we are providing technology management as a service. Not a lot of those around. I just first met a competitor from Bulgaria about 2 weeks ago. Before that, I've only heard about similar things. So the difference between a standard consultancy and a standard software house or development company that I don't have any developers, I don't have any technical people in our company. What we do, we help organizations to figure out what they miss, what they should build, in which order, and also help them to set up teams. I'm focusing on small, medium enterprises, so 50 to 200 people, mostly. And those are the companies that are usually not yet able to manage their own technical teams, because even if they would hire one, it would just be waste of time and money, and those people would just get bored. There's not a lot to do at this size, unless you are a unicorn or something. And what we try to do, we try to help them to start growing, and to start growing in a way that makes sense in the future. So the technology platforms we enable them to start from are going to carry on later and later, and they would know also when to switch them out. So this is also a story of one of those customers. It's called Repligen, and no, it does not have 50 to 200 employees. It has currently slightly less than 2,000, so it's way out of my normal engagement. But it's not where I actually started with them. I started from a completely different place. And Repligen itself, it's another type of service provider, so it's a biotech company, but it doesn't create any biotech by itself. It creates consumables as well as technologies that are used by other biotech companies. And if you remember this nice place or nice time where everybody got a shot in the shoulder, that company was behind the scenes for most of those shot providers. Good. So we're going to talk about journey, and every journey needs a map. So I asked AI to build me one. That was the best they can do. The journey starts from a single small part of that big company. We call it single site proof of concept. So it starts from, is it even possible to do something? It progresses through how to get out of that single proof of concept, how to get into the real solution world. And then it ends up on how to get strategic. Essentially, as you heard from Andres, sooner or later you need to get to that boardroom to talk to the business people, not the middle managers. And this is a story how to get there. Timeline. As Marcos said, we started about 4 years ago. And we started from just a single factory, single manufacturing place that only worked with 2 product lines. If you remember from the previous slide, the company has like 30, 40 different product lines. So we started with 1 location, 2 product lines, a very small, very committed team. And really the point there was the company itself, the single site, had grown to a level where they figured out that a lot of their people, and not just managers, but also regular employees' time was spent on filling the Excel sheets, just to understand how things are going. And when everybody were looking at that Excel sheet, those Excel sheets were common at one thing. They all showed a single truth. And everybody knows that usually it doesn't work that way. So the single truth that was shown was something that was expected, not something that was true. So we built this proof of concept. We started without technology. We started just discussing what is important, how to measure it. If anybody has heard a book called How to Measure Anything, go and read that. I can later provide references. This is really a good way how to provide the possibilities to understand the organization overall. And then from the measurements, from the metrics, came out understanding what we need to measure those things. And from what we need to measure those things came out the topic where the information is, what kind of information exists already in some business systems, and what is still missing. So the first step is implement your business automation. Once you have a certain level of automation built, you have your ERP system, maybe you have your HR system, at least on some level. This is a point where you can start discussing how to start reflecting your status, your state, how you are progressing. And this is a place where we started with a data initiative. And again, the first question was what kind of team we need for that kind of company. So it was a small, growing company at a very interesting space, biotechnology. So we need a small, educated, and very agile team in order to go with the data. We had 2-3 options. We decided to go with Wizon because what they offered was the best. And it also matched the technology layout. So really the proof of concept, because it's so small part of the organization, it was not about to prove that the data models are correct, that the reporting is correct, and you can do something like that. It was to prove that the basis, that is what is going to be under the big organization, will scale and will work. So we focused on technology, and we focused on a lot of collaboration. We were fortunate enough to have a very committed business team, so the whole technology solution we built was just satisfying that business team's needs. So what we were happy was we could provide the first result, the first working data model that supported actual business reports within a few weeks. And within 6 months, it was already working quite stable without any big needs to kind of manage and operate it. But what was challenging, and this is something that proved extremely useful later when we started to scale, was we already understood that there are big gaps in the organizational design. We saw those crocodiles, and we navigated our ways around those crocodiles. So we took the data that we have, we provided the data as a mirror to the organization to understand how they are working, and we showed that they have those blank spots here and there. And very quickly on the technology, as I said, the technology side was the most important there. First of all, even if you work with a small company, think about how it is going to grow. Because later, when you have a working solution and you say, hey, now we need to rebuild everything, then 3 times out of 5 you would say, oh, nice, yeah, we'll find somebody else who would build us a new solution. So when you create something, create it for growth. And there are certain things you always need to take into account, and that's not, unfortunately, very widespread in the data world, but it is already very widespread in the wider software development context. Build something that's always manageable, that's always restorable. So you need to have your repositories. The repositories must contain your code. Yes, you can put SQL into a repository easily. You can manage it. There are several technologies available for that. And once you have your code in a repository, then build a pipeline. Do not hire people to install your code, even in the data world. It just does not make sense, and it's not scalable at all. It will come bite you back in 2 years down the line, the latest, probably sooner. And build a test environment. Yes, additional cost, but without it, you would face a lot of issues later. And of course, the biggest question always in the beginning of technology choice, and that is in all my engagements, is the first question: should we build it or should we buy it? And real answer is a little bit of both. Yes, contrary maybe to popular belief, buying is always faster. And don't waste time on endlessly selecting a suitable commercial provider. Most of them will do. Try to avoid things that were around 20 years ago, because they're still there 20 years ago. So try to pick things that are slightly younger. And don't be afraid to switch. The issue with going with commercial solutions is they are going to bring you fast to a place what they have been built for. And as I heard from Anders before, it might certainly not be a place where you want to be. So make a choice there, or make a different choice there. And related to SQL and different frameworks, for me, the usual choice is, if you read your code, and it also applies if you want to use graphical things like Pentaho or others, if you read your code and you can understand it, everything is good. If you get like 2 A4 SQL statements that you need a team of 3 developers to discuss like what they are really doing, that's the place you have to stop. Use something else. dbt is something we found that enables you to kind of break apart those huge statements and make it usable. Good. So we did a proof of concept. We got to a stable operations. And then we met the organization. Our trial of fire was, can you scale that single site to an organization that had all those multiple ways of operating, all those multiple products, a completely different cultures, background. And we built on a strength, and we chose exactly the same use case. And that is something I would suggest to replicate also within your organization. Start from one team, build something that truly works for that. And then the next step is take that data, build it up to different teams, so those different teams can take a look at it. Not try to build a solution that would serve different teams. That's a big step. The first good step is take that one team data and make it visible, and make it visible in a way that makes it interesting to other teams. In our case, there was also a good technical background on it. We needed to switch from the business information systems they had to an SAP. So it's like nice goes is something here to a big enterprise system. And we did it in a way that we first model it in the warehouse. We built the presentation layers just suitable for migration. And we presented the data to a common master data teams. In other types of organization, I would suggest build common reporting out of it and start to show it to upper management in a way that they can see that they now have better picture from that one team as compared to all the others. So with easy migration, we got to know people dealing with data on the top level organization, and we presented them the way how data could be managed outside of Excel, because the whole organization was built on that. Everybody was composing their own Excels, and it just grow and grow bigger. In our case, we shortcutted it and just started to deliver a daily view of something they never seen before, online data. And on a challenging side, the biggest challenge was that we choose a technology to kind of enable collaboration and change of that data. We choose to use a Google Sheet together with app scripts, which technically was very good, but unfortunately it only worked up to a level of few thousand rows. And on that stage, what to learn is that when you have data people talking to non-data people, or developers talking to non-developers, as you all see, the language is different. So understand that and live with that. And in my experience, it's much easier to teach technical people to speak business and vice versa. I know a lot of technology people think that, oh, we're so good and high paid, everybody should understand what we're talking. No, you're not. Really, it's better to be able to go and present your arguments, your logic, your deliverables in a way that's easily understandable for those who are actually using the results. And it doesn't matter which framework you're using and which technology you're using, it's your choice. They believe on that. And very important, when you start to scale, usually, you find that the whole organization has a lot of hidden and very strange processes. People that go to other people to get an agreement or to get to some result, and the native reaction is, let's change it, let's shortcut that. Let's try to push data directly where it needs to be, but usually that just doesn't work. So instead of trying to find or change the processes, and this goes slightly contrary to Anders's presentation, is that ignore the deficiencies in your organization and start working on a personal level. Start showing to people what they are missing and how it could be different. And after a while, the organization starts to move accordingly. So where we ended up, we built a common set of data models. Now we have covered, we're working with Veiko over there as well, I think about 3/4 of main business processes. And because we did it like, we proved ourselves on each level we stepped. On that level, nobody's going to ask, like, do you really think you are good enough to create a data model for our hyper-complex financial reporting structure? Yes, of course we do. Like, we did that all, and we already showed you the common data. So yes, we can do that part as well. One thing that we learned in that building main data models is differences within the organization. So you had that example of customer being shown in 5 different places all across the organization. That's normal. What's a bit harder is that the concept of customer is different in all those spaces. Not just data, but the concept, like who is customer, who is not a customer. And very often, what you need to do is you need to be able to generalize out of that single understanding. So find common points and only works on those common points. So what I love to say is that the best value out of a data model is shown how many corner cases it can address. So if you have 5 different approaches what is a customer, if you can address 4 of them, it's already perfect. 3 would probably be okay. If you just address 1, then everybody would say, oh, it's that other organization thing. So don't try to standardize everything, but try to standardize enough of the things. So standardization makes it common, standardization makes it valuable, but if you go into each separate corner case and handle those things in your data models, you're just going to spend too much time. Oh. So, finally, what's needed? Once you've built your common understanding for the organization, once you got the organization to work on top of your common data models, this is a place you have to let go. So as you know, everything you grow, sooner or later becomes independent. The same is with us. So we built those data models. We are, at least with some of them, we are happy enough, which means we now have to hand them out. And we have to find new parents for that. Somebody who is going to take care of the building, and that's why this last part is extremely important. Get the business side to own your data, because data does not belong to a developer, nor a head of data or anything. Data belongs to those people who get value out of it. And the best way to get value out of it is also to understand what surrounds your data. So if you have 4 different concepts of a customer that you support, ensure that those 4 concepts are used by the next step. So, as you know, a good salesman is only a good salesman not when he closes a deal, but also when the customer who got the deal will be happy after 1 year. That's a good salesman. And the same approach works with the data. The data model, the data solution is only good when the organization that received that data model is happy with it and is willing to continue working with it, even without you in the picture. Also, usually you still get to be in the picture if you can work like that. So where we are at the moment is what we call the strategy dive, and that's very rare when you can build it that way, but if at all possible, I would suggest to try it out, is start from a proof of concept, then scale it, then make it native to the organization, and then explain to the organization the deficiencies in it. So in our case, this year we are now more focusing on building a data strategy. We have common data models, we have common data lakehouse, we have common reporting, and yes, we have some understanding of what the data strategy is, but this is a perfect place to start building a roadmap on how to evolve together with the organization. And this is the best way how to get invited to a board to discuss how the organization and data should coexist. If you start from that thing, which is very common, like I think most of universities teach you to first do a strategy and then break it down and start going with a simple first steps. If you go that way, then most probably your organization would eat your strategy within 24 hours, and it will be dead. You need a new one. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Martin. Yeah, I guess we have a few questions as well.
Yes, we have a few questions from the audience. How do you get the data into the test environment while respecting data protection?
Well, your test environment should be as protected. That's easy. I mean, test environment essentially is just another copy of your production environment. And why you need it separately is you can ruin it, and that's extremely valuable. And then you either copy your production environment if you have too much data, or you just reload it. But you are free from the fear that, oh, if I do something, it might break something important, and that's needed.
And when data becomes big data?
When somebody comes in and sells it.
Okay, good one. How do you find clients and convince them that they need you?
Yes, that's a common question I always have. I usually do not talk to people in technology sector, unfortunately. I should, maybe. I usually try to talk to business people directly, and a lot of things are going as a word of mouth. Also, word of mouth in my case is that a person in Boston talks to another person in Dallas and says, hey, I have this good experience with this guy, so maybe you can try it out. But also what I try to visit sometimes is the business leadership events where they discuss the digitalization or implementation of a certain process automation way.
Mm-hmm. And I had one more. Wait a second. Do you have any preference in data modeling techniques? Inman, Data Vault, Kimball, OBT, which is the best for your way of working?
What was the last one?
OBT.
Oh, OBT, yeah. No, I don't. Mm-hmm. And the reason is every organization is different. So, yes, there are standard approaches for modeling, but some of them work in one organization, in one setup, some don't. And even if we talk about the model itself, we can go lower, like dimensional versus ontology versus relational. They all might work in a certain condition. So I've had very successful customer without any analytical storage at all, doing all in a relational setting, because as it came out, their business was highly relational. And it works very well if you have very simple business layout. It's setting it up in a more complex data structures is, again, just waste of time. And of course, I've been part of a big ontology drive, lasted, I think, 1.5 years, a project. Ended up with a big, nice ontology solution for the organization that every AI developer would be extremely happy to get. And I'm pretty certain that it died about 6 months after it was finished. Because the immense upkeep need of ontology approach is usually only working when you have highly regulated environment, where things are first like agreed, documented, and only then implemented. That was not the case for the organization, and sometimes it happens.
We have one more. What would be the suitable proof of concept? How to choose it?
The best proof of concept needs 3 things. So first of all, there has to be a strong need for results. You cannot do proof of concept as a technology provider, really. A lot of cases start with that. But in order to be successful, you need to have a strong need, so something clearly missing in the organization. The second thing is you need to have enough time from participants. And that's also my way of suggesting how to deal with complex organizations, is the same way how to deal with eating an elephant. You probably know that, 1 bit at a time. So take a small part of the organization and try to make a change there, and try to make it in a way that everybody would feel the value out of that change. And very often in this small part of the organization, because even in the very big structured organization, the smaller parts are just a reflection of bigger parts on top of them. The choices you make here are mostly applicable when you grow, but you have to find the dependencies.
Great. Thank you.